At the end of this topic, you will be able to describe bone, list synovial joints, explain the skeletal system in human, reason out the importance of rib cage. The close framework of bones associated with muscles make up the skeletal system of the human body. Human body performs activities like swimming, running and playing with the help of the movements of bones and muscles. The muscles and bones work together in aiding these movements. Muscles cannot push, they can only pull. They are attached to bones by tendons. Tendons are thick sheets of connective sheets. The muscle tightens and becomes shortened while pulling the bone attached to it. When this relaxes, the other muscles tighten and the bone moves back. The muscle that lies above the upper arm is the muscle that can be seen and felt bulging when you flex your arm at the elbow. You can see the label marked as biceps contracted. When you straighten or extend the arm, the muscle at the back of the upper arm gets relaxed. Note the area marked as biceps relaxed. This shows that the two muscles work antagonistically to bend and straighten the arm at the hinge point of the elbow. Antagonistically means in opposite directions. Bone is a hard grayish-white substance composed of 2/3 of inorganic substances like phosphate, calcium and 1/3 of organic substances. Though they are hard in appearance, they are not solid. They have strong outer layer of lightweight, compact bone and a spongy marrow on the inside. The strong outer covering like a skin over the bone is called periosteum. The soft bone marrow produces red blood cells, RBC, to the body. On the basis of the shape, bones are classified into 4 types: long, short, flat and irregular. Bones of thighs, legs, arms, forearm and fingers are long bones. Wrists and ankles have short bones. Cranial bones, scapula clavicle and sternum clavicle are examples for flat bones. Vertebrae cocci and certain skull facial bones are examples for irregular bones. Bones that fit at the joints are supported by a form of connective tissue called the ligaments. Joint is a point of contact between the bones and the cartilage and the bone and the teeth. Some joints are functional and some are not functional. The 3 types of joints are fibrous, cartilaginous and synovial. In fibrous joints, bones are held together by fibrous connective tissue. There is no synovial cavity. This includes immovable sutures. Examples of fibrous joints are skull bone between calf bone and tibia. In cartilaginous joints, bones are held together by cartilage and there is no synovial cavity. Examples of cartilaginous joints are earlobe, tip of nose and sternum. In synovial joints, bones are freely movable with the presence of synovial cavity, articular cavity and synovial membrane. Examples include hip joint, shoulder joint, elbow, atlas and axis and tarsal bones. Some of the synovial joints are ball and socket joints, hinge joint, gliding joint and pivot joint. Examples of ball and socket joints are hip joint and shoulder joint. Bone of ball-like surface fits to the other bone having cup-like cavity. Examples of hinge joints are elbow and ankle. Convex surface of bone fits to the concave surface of bone in the hinge joints. Examples of gliding joint are tarsal bones, the sternum and the clavicle. Here the bone is a flat surface and there is no movement around the axis. Examples of pivot joint are atlas and axis. This helps in the movement of head or to rotate side to side. Skeletal system is called as instrumental system because it helps to perform movements like walking and running. It is classified into axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. Skull, vertebral column, ribs and sternum constitutes the axial skeleton. Pectoral girdle, bones of the forelimb, pelvic girdle and bones of the hind limb constitutes the appendicular skeleton. There are 80 bones in the axial skeleton and 126 bones in the appendicular skeleton. Totally, 206 bones are present in the human skeletal system. The vertebral column has a characteristic curve. Vertebral column is divided into 5 regions. Cervical region, otherwise called as the neck region, contains 7 vertebrae. Thoracic region, otherwise called as chest region, contains 12 vertebrae. Lumbar region, also called as abdominal region, contains 5 vertebrae. Sacral region, otherwise known as hip region, contains 5 vertebrae. Coccygeal region, also called as vestigial region, contains 4 vertebrae. Rib cage protects organs like lungs and heart. There are 12 pairs of ribs. First 7 pairs of ribs are attached to sternum directly and are called as true ribs. Next 3 pairs of the ribs are not attached to the sternum directly and are called as false ribs. The last 2 pairs of ribs are not connected to the sternum and these are called as floating ribs. Ribs at sides, sternum at the front and the backbone are collectively called together as chest box. Provide structural framework and support to soft tissues of the body. Internal organs are protected. Facilitates movement like walking and running. Stores minerals like calcium, phosphate and carbonate. The bone marrow produces RBC, WBC and platelets. In this topic you have learned the close framework of bones associated with muscles make up the skeletal system of the human body. Bone is a hard grayish-white substance composed of 2/3 of inorganic substances like phosphate, calcium and 1/3 of organic substances. Bones that fit at the joints are supported by a form of connective tissue called the ligaments. Vertebral column is divided into 5 regions: cervical region, thoracic region, lumbar region, sacral region and coccygeal region. Ribs at sides, sternum at the front and the backbone are collectively together called as the chest box. At the end of this topic, you will be able to explain the movement in earthworms, describe the flying movement in birds, brief the undulatory movement in snakes.
Animals move from place to place in response to stimuli in search of food and shelter in order to mate and to escape from enemies.
Movements in animals are caused by muscular action. These movements are performed by various kinds of structures like cilia, flagella, appendages, fins, limbs, setae, muscular foot and wings. Earthworms move with the help of body muscles which are circular and longitudinal muscles and setae. Setae can be withdrawn with the aid of protractor and retractor muscles in setae sacs. It provides grip to earthworm to move on the surface of soil. Earthworm moves at the rate of 25 cm per minute. Nervous system coordinates the activities of circular and longitudinal muscle. So, the contraction of any layer brings about relaxation of the other muscle layers. The coulombic fluid serves as hydraulic skeleton because a decrease in its pressure results in the relaxation of muscle. With the aid of mucus, earthworm can move on hard and smooth surfaces. Cockroach is a swift runner and also a flyer. There are 6 legs in cockroach that aids in walking or running. When the cockroach is at rest, the coxae of the leg lies back and the first leg direct forward. Hind legs are stretched out posterior. The middle leg takes position which is convenient. During locomotion, the first pair of the leg directs forward. This was the determining factor for the movement of cockroach. Presence of thorax with 2 pairs of wings, forewing and hindwing. Forewings are elytra and provides a protective covering. Presence of membranous hindwings which aids in flying. Fishes live in water. Body is streamlined in shape, adapted for swimming. Fins are the locomotory organs of fish adapted to move efficiently in water. By movement of fins, fishes changes its direction from left to right or from right to left and also moves from up and down. Most of the fish swim by waving their tail. Example, tunny fish. Some fishes are flat. Example, plaice and flounder. These fishes swim by moving their body up and down. Eelfish has a long body. When the eelfish moves, the whole body is involved in the movement from side to side. Bony fishes are fishes with the presence of swim bladder or air bladder. Swim bladder is filled with air or gas and it is hydrostatic in function. S-shaped movement is seen in the snake. This kind of locomotion is called undulatory movement. It involves a series of curves by the contraction of muscles. In water, the kind of motion helps the snakes to move forward. Inland snakes overcome the resistant points like rocks with the help of scales present on their body. Birds have aerial mode of life. Their body is streamlined to provide resistance for movement in the air. The wings are the modified forelimb structures. They have tails that act as a brake during landing. The hollow pneumatic bones and the air sacs in the bone cavity make their body light in weight and facilitating easy flight in them. The flight muscles are anchored to a bony flap on its chest. This flap is otherwise called as keel. The pectoral muscles pulls the wing downwards and upwards. Most of the birds fly downstroke or upstroke. Downstroke. Feathers overlap so that no air can get through and the bird can push itself along the air. Upstroke. The feathers twist open, air passes through allowing the bird to lift its wings easily. In this topic you have learnt